Secretly recorded from deep inside the bowels of a decommissioned missile silo, we bring you the man, one single man who wants to bring light to the darkness and dark to the lightness. Although he's not always right, he is always certain. So now, with security protocols in place, the protesters have been forced back behind the barricades and the blast doors are now sealed. Without further delay, let me introduce you to the host of HUDcast, Mr. Tim Hutner.
Thank you, Sergeant-at-Arms. You can now take your post.
Happy glorious Sunday on HUDcast. Today, we're going to have a little conversation in studio by ourselves about Esme Murphy's interview with Mayor Frey and this newly, well, what do we call him? Commissioner of Community Safety nominee for $300,000. So this guy's name is Cedric Alexander, and I just got a couple of questions, more so comments that, yeah, you want to tune in for this one, because this is just absolutely, I'm dumber for watching this, and I want you to be not dumber for watching it. So, HUDcast here today on Sunday, 7/10/22. Stand by, we'll be right back.
Buying a gun is no ordinary purchase. Whether you're a hunter, competitive shooter, or self-defense is your priority, there are many kinds of guns and many kinds of training programs. You use your brain all the time. You will rarely need to use your gun. Before you find yourself in a situation where you need to make a critical decision, make sure your training is the best you can get. It could be the difference between life and death, or freedom or detention. For the best quality training, check out permittocarry.us. If you live in Minnesota or Wisconsin or even Florida, give Gene German a call, 612-388-2403. That's Permit to Carry US. Or call Gene German at 612-388-2403.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to HUDcast. Today, the wife says to me, you know, we should watch this Channel 4 Esme Murphy interview with Dr. Cedric and Mayor Frey. And I thought, yeah, I kind of gave her the cold shoulder. I said, whatever. I mean, whatever Frey's got to say doesn't make any sense. But I did watch it, and I just had to go to you guys and say, all right, I'm going to play this complete interview, and respective to the collective brands of WCCO, Esme Murphy, and her crew, I'm going to play it in complete integrity. So you guys can hear exactly what I'm going to hear. And then I'm going to come back, and we're going to have some points, some talking points on how dumb I'm actually going to be talking about it. I'm beside myself. I can't believe it. The wife was just about throwing stuff at the TV, but yet here we are. And yeah. So stand by. I'm going to play this in the complete, and then you guys and we are going to just sit back and say, does this even make any sense? So stand by.
Last weekend's chaotic scene on the 4th of July was just the latest in a series of incidents that have left people across the state scared to come to downtown Minneapolis and downtown residents scared to go outside. At least 8 people were shot and wounded last weekend as rogue fireworks exploded on Boom Island and drag races erupted on city streets. Since then, the governor has activated the state patrol to reinforce the understaffed Minneapolis Police Department. And Mayor Jacob Frey announced his nominee for a brand new position, a $300,000 a year commissioner of community safety who would be in charge of the police department, the fire department, the 911 center, and violence prevention. And that man is Dr. Cedric Alexander. Mayor Frey and Dr. Alexander are joining us now. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Alexander, we're going to start with your resume. We're going to put up like a little graphic here. We didn't have enough graphics to get your entire resume in. These are just some of the positions Dr. Alexander has held. Obviously, extraordinary qualifications. How does that translate, sir, into ending some of this gun violence that is terrorizing our community?
Well, let me be clear about something. That resume does not equate to that. What the resume equate to is that what we're going to do under the direction of the mayor is to take our 5 public safety platforms, integrate them together, and create for this community an opportunity to improve public safety. So when you think about police, fire, emergency management, Office of Violence Prevention, etc., then what we and the goal will be to do is to utilize all of those assets together to create a public safety platform that's going to be beneficial in two things: one, building relationships in this community, and two, dealing with public safety issues.
I'd like to ask both of you, I was startled when I saw the numbers. 886 police officers back in 2019 in the Department for Minneapolis. Today, there are 564. That's more than 300 less. How can anybody do the job of keeping the city safe with that many fewer officers?
No one single person can do the job of recruitment and making sure that the officers that are coming onto our department have the right mindset. But here's the truth. We have to do things differently, and that's a big reason why I tapped Dr. Cedric Alexander. It's to make sure that we're going out into communities on a day-to-day basis, and we're finding people that really want to protect and serve. We're inspiring officers to be part of this department, which can be an example for other cities in the rest of the country to follow.
Well, Dr. Alexander, how are you going to manage with that decline in the number of officers?
Well, the reality of it is that is the number. And we have to not just look at those 500 and some numbers that are there. That's the reality. That's where we are at this very moment. That's what we have to fight with. That's what we're going to use. But in addition to that, here again, with the collaboration of these other public safety platforms that you just heard me mention, emergency management, fire, 911, Office of Violence Prevention, we're going to collaborate all of our assets, bring all of our resources together. But there are two other key elements in all of this too, and part of this whole calculus is to how we're going to have to deal with public safety going forward. And one of the biggest ones is we also have to integrate the community in parts of this crime fighting effort, because we all, I can't by myself, neither can the mayor by himself, but all of us, elected officials, citizens across this great city, we all going to have some shared responsibility in all of this. And that's the goal here.
And Esme, this is something that I campaigned on, that I talked about, this integration of these different public safety services together. You need to get to that.
Let me ask you this. In the 30 years that I have been on the street reporting in this wonderful community, a lot of very smart people have tried to fix the culture in the Minneapolis Police Department. It's a culture that has been problematic for decades in terms of police abuse of authority, million-dollar settlements, multi-million-dollar settlements. The taxpayers have to foot the bill. And of course, it culminated in the death of George Floyd that everybody saw, which captured every second of it on video. As I said, a lot of people have tried and they failed. What do you think you can turn it around?
Well, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to do this as a community. First, let's acknowledge that we got a lot of good men and women inside that police department who wants to see something different.
And that is true.
That is absolutely true. But we also, as you stated, we also have to acknowledge that we have people who have not worked for the best benefit of that department and its reputation. My goal here, in the role that I'm going to play, is to make sure those officers who want to be employed, who want to be here, who want to make a difference, they're going to have nothing but my support. And I'm going to ask the communities to support them as well. And anyone, regardless of any of these platforms that I named, don't wish to go in that direction, yes, that's going to be problematic. Not for me, not for this community, but for themselves. But I am truly optimistic that we're at a space and time at this particular moment where this community, where our elected officials, where those, all of us that are in the public safety community, we all want to look forward. It's about looking forward, leaning forward. We got a past behind us, but everything we want to do is straight up ahead of us, and that's the direction we have to go. So I think it's an opportune time, but I can assure you this, that my style in the way that I do business, I want to be fair and equitable to everyone, to everyone.
You're going to be paid $300,000 a year if the city council approves you, the highest paid city servant, official on the city staff. Why did you want this job?
Well, let me be clear about something. I only took this job for one reason. And I took this job because the mayor called me up and say, hey.
And you were on your boat.
Yeah, I was 20 miles offshore. Everybody know the story. I was 20 miles offshore fishing. And
in the Gulf of Mexico.
In the Gulf of Mexico. And, but, you know, when the mayor called me, it was very humbling, quite frankly. It was very humbling. He asked, could we begin to have conversations around how we can tackle some of these challenges that are in this city, and would I be able to assist? And that's how our conversations evolved. So for me being here, to your question, I'm here because I want to be here. There was a cry for my help. When in coming into this community, I become a part of this community. I live in this city. I become a part of this community. I go to church in this community. I will make friends, lifelong friends over time in this community. So this community becomes very much a part of me.
And quickly, Mayor Frey, is he going to pass the city council? This is just a nomination. A couple of weeks they're going to vote on him.
Well, I know to never speak for the city council, but that being said, I'm very confident. Dr. Alexander has the credentials, he has the experience, but most importantly, he's setting a vision for where we're going to go. The answer is yes.
Okay, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to covering you when you have the job, if you do in fact get passed through the city council. I've heard some positive things from some city council members that I have spoken to. We appreciate your coming in.
Thank you so much, Esme.
So how'd you like that one? I'm going to put this in a different segment, so we call it chapters. And that's going to be its own chapter, so that if you want to go back and play it again so you can bounce it off what I'm about to say, it would make a lot of sense. This will put some quantification in what we're seeing here. And, well, I watched the interview, but I did record it in audio. And that we can actually say, you know, is this a thing? So let me start out with my first thing here. I took some notes on the show, on their show, so I could put it on my show. And Esme, and I'm not out to beat up on Esme's interview. I thought she brought some pretty good points to the conversation. But one of her points was people were shot. 8 people were shot with gun violence, and she puts it as gun violence, when it was fireworks. I don't know, kind of makes you say, is this where the constant left is trying to continually pound us down our throat that this was gun violence? I would call it fireworks violence. And I don't believe that there's any type of law in the books for fireworks violence towards people. I don't know if there is. I mean, it ain't gun violence. And again, respective to her branding and WCCO's branding, again, I had to put this in continuity. It had to be complete because you had to hear what I was hearing and what the wife was hearing. So let's start at the beginning of this, other than this gun violence, i.e., fireworks violence, drag racing on the streets. Okay, total chaos. Yeah, I saw the thing. It was 4th of July, and they were acting like punks. Yeah, this is what the punks do. They do punk stuff. But now we have to call this Dr. Cedric Alexander in. Dr. Cedric is quite the resume. I mean, he's been a police chief. He's been this, he's been that. But I don't really know if this guy has even really been anywhere near a Minneapolis city that is democratically provided for. So we've got Frey. Okay, our city's out of control. We need some help. You were on your boat. We called you in on the Gulf of Mexico. You were 20 miles offshore. Yeah, we heard this story over and over and over again. It's not how you get the call, it's if you get the call. And he comes in and he says, I want to help. Frey says, we want your help. We'll give you $300,000 a year to come in and do this, unmake this mess. I don't know. I guess if I had 300K thrown at me, I'd seriously think about helping. I'm just a lonely hudcast in the middle of nowhere. Throw me 300K. I'll tell you how to fix this. Or at least help you to tell you how to fix this. So my first gut feeling here is Frey brings in somebody who's now his head is on the chopping block for $300,000 a year. So if this don't work, which I have a lot of high doubts it's going to work, they're going to take this and say, hey, we hired a guy to do this. We are absolved of all sin and evil because we hired a guy for $300K and he couldn't do his job. I don't think this is a job that Dr. Cedric's going to actually fix, because Esme pointed that out too. She said for years and years, people have been trying to fix this. What makes you think you can do it? And this arrogant guy actually come back with a word, my style is going to be different. What kind of style are you going to have with law and order? You're either going to follow the law or you're going to be in cuffs. So what kind of style is there in between there? I look at it as a binary kind of question. Follow the law, or we'll make you follow the law. Think about that. Think about what she said in that first 5 minutes of that interview. Think about what he said. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude, you are so in the wrong side of this boat. Here we are moving on with this. So this guy, Cedric, is being nominated by Mr. Frey, Mayor Frey, whatever you want to call him. I'm not a fan, but he's not a fan of HUDcast either, so I don't really care. Mayor Frey, in my opinion, you hired a guy for $300K to take the fall. He's a fall guy. You hired a guy for $300K that if it doesn't work, you can still campaign that you tried something. Mayor Frey, did you just pay a guy $300,000 a year to do your job? Because Mr. Cedric's style is going to be, I'm going to be in charge of fire, police, public of office, what do you call it? What's my notes say? Public of office, violence prevention. Well, if you remember, right, just after the George Floyd gig, they started this public office of violence prevention. And now we have to have a leader to it? Well, what did they start 2 years ago? Things to make you go, Now he's going to be in front of all these guys. What's the mayor supposed to do? Isn't that the mayor's job? So if we're going to pop $300,000 for this guy every year, are we getting a rebate on the mayor's salary? Are we getting a rebate on the police chief's salary, the fire chief's, the Office of Violence and Prevention? You know, I kind of look at things as a business point of view. If I'm going to keep adding bodies, and these bodies that I've already paid for and hired aren't doing their job, don't you change bodies? Because I would. In our business, if you got a guy who can't do something, you say, hey, we're gonna try and educate you and get you up to speed. If you still can't do it, you can't be here. But typical government, they literally says, we can't do it. We can't control Minneapolis. We can't do nothing to keep our citizens safe. The same citizens who voted these people in there, remember the citizens when you vote next time. But we're going to hire a guy who can, because that means we're going to do something about it. We're going to make this happen because we care about you. Well, Mayor couldn't wait to throw his 2 cents in there. And mind you, I have no skin in this battle. I've got nothing in this. I do not live in Minneapolis. I would never live in Minneapolis. I wouldn't be a part of that sewer if they came up to me and says, you can be the mayor of this sewer, because I wouldn't do it. There ain't no way. But the mayor says, we can't control our people. We can't keep you safe. We couldn't do it during the riots. And we're going to hire this guy for $300,000 who can. I don't know. Okay, Cedric wants everyone to assist in this Minneapolis problem. He wants you, the listener. He wants you, the fire guy. He wants you, the babysitter. He wants you, the milkman. He wants all of you guys to do their job. Don't we do that now? Don't you guys do that now? So you Minneapolis guys, so when you hear something outside, do you not call 911? Because that's doing your part, other than picking up a piece or a gaff and going out and leveling the road. Because no one's going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're not hired to do that. You're not insured to do that. It is not your job to do that. It is your job to call 911. It is your civic duty to say, I see stuff out there. But wait. We had 800 cops. We're down to 500. When you call, you'll get the elevator music. Please hold. Reminds me of a scene out of RoboCop where you call and says, we'll get back to you in about 2 days as you sit on hold. But in the meantime, stuff's happening outside your house, outside your business, outside your car at exactly that time. And perps, they know this. They know that the cops ain't going to have a response call of less than, 20 minutes, 40 minutes? And we've had Minneapolis police on here before, and they have confirmed 15, 20, 30-minute response time. In 30 minutes, I could do a whole lot of things and get out of there before I would even be caught. They know this. Carjackings through the roof. People coming in, breaking into your cars while you're in them. I wonder if the stand your ground law is part of your car. We should ask Gene German that. Get him back on the show and say, hey, it's been a while since you've been on here, Gene. What do you see about this new crap sandwich that the Minneapolis is in? And give him his opinion on that. And I bet he'd have a good one. Okay. Shifting gears here. Esme, don't wait for... Okay, so when Esme starts talking about this, and she's got a point, and she says, well, how are you going to fix it when no one else could? And then he throws up that style, and I couldn't believe that, so that kind of shook my rock a little. I'm like, what, dude? All right, now let's get to the management, the dollars management of this. We're paying a guy $300K to do the jobs of 7-8 guys, to be the leader of that when that's supposed to be the mayor. Now, if I was you guys in South Minneapolis, or wherever proper, you're going to look at this guy and go, we don't need all these other guys then. We don't need to spend another $300K. Think about that again. When you're doing this, when you're at the voting booth and you're saying, this doesn't make any sense. This is just totally stupid. All right. Cedric says in his interview, we have bad cops. Not verbatim, but he said that. He said that if you listen to him, and he says, well, we have some cops that just don't want to be there. Well, they're union. Cops want to collect their benefits that they've worked for decades. What do you expect them to do? Of course they don't want to be there. They have a police chief and a mayor and a governor that threw them under the bus so many times that they don't want to do their job because they don't have the support of their government. But Cedric's going to come in and support everybody equally. I don't know. You got to think about that too. It don't make any sense to me. If you're not going to support him, so you're going to hire a guy for $300K to support him? We'll let him support him. But when the shit hits the fan, we're going to come back and say, well, I didn't support him to support you to support everybody. Mark my words, people. I'm not into magic, and I'm certainly not into coincidence. This is a plan. This is a chess move by the city of Minneapolis to have themselves a goat. And this Dr. Cedric, he's the goat. But for $300,000, he's going to turn a blind eye. All right, okay, we covered his style. All right, so where's the current officials, and how come they're not doing their job? We've all been through the riots. We've seen that. We know what's going on. We've understood that when Arredondos and all these other police chiefs were ready to, make stuff happen, and the mayor didn't, and the governor didn't. Why aren't these guys calling the shots? That doesn't even make any sense to me. Why didn't they do their job? And if we have another riot situation on our hands, can the Dr. Cedric do his job? So why would they give more authority to a guy they just hired than the authority to the guys they've hired decades ago? Because I would rather have the guys who know the routine than some guy coming in just because he's got a list of credentials a mile long. Doesn't mean that you're going to have the same support from your area. It just ain't going to happen. And what now? Because he's hired in and we're doing something about it, we're going to have this? I don't know if that makes any sense to me. All right, Cedric, bad cops. Going through my show notes. Remember, we did talk about the Esme part where she said people were shot. She wanted gun violence, but with fireworks. So keep that active in your head. That don't even make any sense to me either. Sure, there's gunshots everywhere. There's gunshots constantly. Go log into Shot Track Minneapolis and look at the gunshots and look at the areas in which they're being tracked. So that's like an app you can get or a website that you can go right to and say, what is Shot Track? And it's pretty accurate. It can tell you how many, how much, and on any given night, you just log in. Or just visit the website. You don't have to give no name or nothing. And you will see what the cops are doing every night. And you're going to have this Dr. Cedric come in and magically wave a wave. Why? Because he's a black guy and he's going to go down and calm the black people down and the white people down and the yellow people down. They're going to have all these calming effect. He seems like kind of a hard ass. I think we should have been letting the hard asses do their job in the first place, so we wouldn't have to hire a hard ass to go do a hard ass job. I believe he's going to be in a situation. But hey, I could be wrong. It is merely my opinion. I tell you what, you guys. We got enough listeners in the world, and we've got enough followers and countries, and regardless of where your country is, if you've got this kind of situation going on, I want you to log into the Facebook, Hutcast, Facebook, and just give us some ideas. I mean, I get a crap ton of instant messages. There's just, I can't even read most of them because there's so many of them. But log in, give us your 2 cents on this episode. Download the actual video and watch this guy's body language, his demeanor, his whole aura of him, and how he's going to style his way into policing and controlling the community. And then watch Frey's body language. Because all he wants to do is campaign on his show. He don't want to actually engage the show. He just wants to, hey, we got a guy for this now. Never mind we had guys for it, but now we got another guy. And this guy is better than the other guys altogether. Personally, if I was the other guys, I'd take my para-retirement and tell the city to kiss my behind and move on. Because you know that's going to go downhill. Crap always flows downhill. It just depends on what side of the hill you're on at the time. But chime in. Give us your thoughts. Short show today. I got a lot of stuff going on around the shop area, so I am like totally swamped. I didn't know if I was going to get today's episode out. But the wife says, yeah, you need to do an episode on this. So she's my driving light. She gets me going. And here we are doing the episode. It'll release today at 5/7/10/2022. I was going to jump in and have some conversation about this gal, this Texas WNBA player, who is now in jail in Russia for carrying some hash, CBD, something oil, whatever it is. The same gal who don't believe they should play Star Spangled Banner at her basketball games. She wants to denounce the Star Spangled Banner. I would suspect until now, where she's stuck in Russia for drug possession, and do the math there. Just totally do the math on this, because if she's stuck in Russia, I bet she's ready to stand up right now and pledge that allegiance now. But I could be wrong. No one's really talked about it because it happened like 4 days ago. So I was going to do a whole skit on that, but I just wanted to throw that out there to you guys, because this is pretty crazy. You want to denounce this, you want to do your rights, you want to do that. Well, you have your rights now, but you don't have rights in Russia. And frankly, who in their right mind goes to Russia when there's a war on? Hey, I want to go play basketball in Russia. Whatever she's there for, I don't even know how to begin to say that's as stupid as it gets. And the school's okay with that. The WNBA is like, oh, let's go to Russia and throw some basketballs around with CBD oil, or with hashish in your case oil, CBD oil, whatever it is. Yeah, people, you can't write this crap. This is what happens in real life. We pay writers millions of dollars in Hollywood to write this stupid crap, and all we gotta do is look at reality. Because that's how stupid this is. Let's go to a war zone. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's on her now. Now I just want to see. I'm going to pay attention to this and find out what her demeanor is at the next basketball games. If she's going to get up off her ass or off her knee and put her hand over her heart and pledge that allegiance. If she ever comes back, because I understand there's a 10-year sentence for this in Russia. I don't know, all the TV shows I see about Russia, there are a lot of gulags and stuff, and they're the last place I want to be in the world, especially doing drug stuff. I don't know if you ever watched Falcon and the Snowman, but that's kind of a real thing, and that scared the snot out of me. I don't need to prove that point. Falcon and the Snowman. Old movie, good movie, kind of the same thing, but this guy wasn't a basketball player. He was not a nobody. But don't worry, Kamala Harris is pushing big to get this gal back because, That's what she does. Let's fund these people. And the State Department, I don't know. Are they going to push too hard? There's. What are you going to do in the State Department in a war zone? The U.S. is going to go over there and go, hey, stop it. And then what? Russia's going to do the same thing and tells Ukraine, pound salt, up yours. She broke our law. It's pinch time. And this gal's wife, yep, I said it, this gal's wife, she's an LGBTQRS WXYZer, is all upset, and she's taking the stand and running the podium, and just read some of the stuff she's putting out there. And this was not a big in-depth grab into what this whole program was. This is just highlights of what we're seeing in quips of media. It's just what's out there. But it's my opinion, so therefore, it's just the way it is. Good thing I stand for the American flag and put my hand over my heart every time the Star Spangled Banner plays. Because I believe in this country. I believe we should all believe in it. Or I guess Russia's got some openings. Or Ukraine. Or wherever that you don't want to stand for American flag. My thought is, go ahead. I'll book the tickets for you. You go out over there. But anyway, Hudcast is like 22 minutes into this talking segment. You got my thoughts on it. I wish you the very best out there, as we're going to have some storms tonight in Minneapolis. We're going to have some heat again, then we get a cold break, or an 80-degree cold break. So I'm hoping we get some nice weather and we get out and enjoy the week. But remember, I've got a lot of things going on. I will try and get shows out and post them as soon as I can. But until then, unless something really breaks in the big news, I'm going to kind of be out there when I can. So Hudcast is signing off. You all have a fantastic rest of your day.
And that's a wrap for Hudcast. Hudcast is, again, a pragmatic approach to seeing things how some people see them. If you like our show, give us a thumbs up on the Facebook site. Again, for Hudcast, thank you again. Have a wonderful evening.